Alright, here we are. We're going to do some scenery from start to finish. Ballasting track, removing an old switch, replacing it with a new one, weathering the building, adding a concrete pad, and so on. Check it out. Here we are, early in the morning. Getting a little brighter. Let's take a closer look at what we have. We got all the guys coming in for work today. They're gonna excavate this site. Here we need to pour a slab to level with the track and ballast the track, do some scenery work, and yeah, just make it look all good. Here's the boss talking to the big boss. The kid in the background checking out the bumper. And yeah, so without further ado, here we are. We got the pink foam underneath, so the scene has not been touched since I placed the building and put the lights in. Here we have our framework, piece of tubing for the lights to go down through the table. We'll use a pair of trucks with wheels set to the right gauge for the track to clean that off. And we're going to put some toothpicks in to hold our formwork in. Keep that straight. It's okay if it warps out a little bit because we want it to look weathered and old concrete. So, and it doesn't matter if we make a mess with the plaster because we got to do some scenery work around the area. So, no big deal there. The big deal was these little sticks. Yeah, don't do that. That's just a big headache. I had to scoop them out of the plaster because they floated. But anyways, back to the process here. Now that we're going to be done with those, we'll mix up some plaster. Just a regular 1-to-1 ratio. Kind of thin, kind of thick. At the start it's thin, at the end it's thick. So yeah, it works. Get it in on the track, and you can see the water seeping out. And like I said, it doesn't matter if we make a mess because all that scenery is coming out. So the fence right in front of you will be no longer. The fence in the background, that will stay. And so that side stayed pretty clean, thankfully. We'll smooth and scrape the tracks to make sure we are below. Clean up most of the plaster so we can utilize it in the ramp coming into the building where the garage door is. Now, after you're done smoothing, you can use the plaster remaining, remove the tape and a toothpick so you have just the plastic for a gap, which is like maybe 20 millimeters. Take the trucks and try and work your way in. Get the groove right along it. Scrape out the rest of it. And leave the centerpiece in the middle of the track. That is the key. Now that it's set up, we can take away the formwork. We can smooth in whatever we need to smooth in. If you needed to, you could activate the plaster a little bit with some water. Just some regular water, household water, will activate the top of the plaster to smooth it. But using the scraper to get the track gaps just right took quite a bit of time on that. Wanted to make sure they didn't derail inside because I plan to glue the structure to the foundation. Carving some stairways here. and just getting a little creative with the scene. You never know what's going to happen. You just kind of go with the flow on a freelance, and it works. So carved in a little bit of stairs, and carved here and carved there. So on and so forth. Here scraping again, making sure that the inside of the tracks are clear. The guys are cleaning up all the mess. Here we need to replace this switch. It just doesn't belong on our table. They're not bad, but it just doesn't work. Now we're going to do some ballasting of the far track to let the water and alcohol solution work on the other piece of track and get that ready to be ripped up. Just needed a little bit more time, so I figured I'd kill it by ballasting these two spur tracks. Adding the ballast in lightly because I really don't have anywhere to go with it, so other than off to the side, and we don't want clumpage and all the rest of it, and nor do we want it to get down to where the water is on the other side, because then it will just attract the water and make mud. There is no sand in it. It has not been washed, but there is no sand. Here are the lights that were in the building. Pretty primitive, but nonetheless they do work, and if I added 4 or 5 more, it would probably be the same amount of light that I have in there now. Has dissolved. The track is free. As we see here, we have been able to tear up all the stones. And moving on, we got our special delivery from our piggyback boys. Dropping off some goodies for you and I to model the inside and outside front view. There's all the trinkets we'll use. Some we won't, some we will. The lights off to the left are going to be used in the parking lot. As we can see, we have a little meeting of the minds. Boy wanted these scenes in the video, so we obliged and added them right in for him. As you can see here, he's got it all clustered right up. Thank God there's a building going on. Here we have our drinking straws with our wire in the center to leave the hole open, with our plaster on the side. And another shot of the drinking straws glued to the cardboard. We're using a syringe for an applicator. It makes a lot less mess than the spoon. As you can see here, you just tap the straw and get the air bubbles out. Wait for it to get hard and pull your wire out. Use your hobby knife to slice the straw open without cutting the pillar up too much. Give it a nice coat of yellow paint, safety yellow paint from a paint pen that I bought at Walmart. Here you can see that the hole is open through the inside, and our pillar is ready for application of a light pole. So we'll desolder these and take the shrink tube right off. I ended up using one large piece of shrink tube to shrink together both resistors and connected those into the block terminal. Here we're just desoldering the resistors and the ground wire, getting them prepped and ready to insert through the tube. Makes it a lot easier to put the wires down the tube than having the resistors on and drilling a bigger hole. risk breaking the tube. See there, a tube on wire. Haha.